The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a dusky glow over the quiet town of Vila Nova. As twilight settled, a sense of foreboding filled the air. The old, abandoned movie rental shop at the edge of town seemed even more eerie in the dim light. It had been closed for years, yet stories of strange occurrences within its walls never ceased to circulate. Sarah, a curious and adventurous teenager, had always been fascinated by the shop. One evening, while exploring with her friends Pedro, Clara, and João, she decided to break in and see what secrets the dusty old place held. "Are you sure about this, Sarah?" Pedro asked, his voice trembling slightly. He was the cautious one in the group, always wary of Sarah's reckless ideas. "Come on, Pedro, it's just an old shop. What's the worst that could happen?" Sarah replied with a grin, her flashlight cutting through the darkness as she pried open the creaky door. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of decay. Shelves lined the walls, still filled with VHS tapes that hadn't been touched in years. As they ventured further in, Clara stumbled upon a section marked, "Melhores filmes de terror de suspense." "Hey, look at this," Clara called out, holding up a tape with a plain black cover. There was no title, just a single word scrawled in red ink, Impulso. Intrigued, the group decided to take the tape back to Sarah's house to watch it. They huddled together in the living room, the old VCR whirring as the tape started to play. The screen flickered to life, showing a series of unsettling images, a dilapidated house, shadowy figures moving in the background, and distorted faces that seemed to scream in silence. As the film progressed, the images became more disturbing. A sense of dread settled over the group, and Clara noticed something strange. Each time the camera showed a face, it seemed to resemble one of them. First Pedro, then João, and finally, Sarah. "What is this?" João muttered, his eyes wide with fear. "This isn't just a movie." The tape ended abruptly, leaving the room in silence. Suddenly, the power went out, plunging them into darkness. The only light came from Sarah's flashlight, which flickered weakly. "We need to get out of here," Pedro said urgently, his voice shaking. But as they tried to leave, they found the doors and windows locked, as if an invisible force was holding them in place. The shadows in the room seemed to come alive, twisting and writhing as if reaching out for them. A cold, malevolent presence filled the air, and they could hear whispers, indistinct and sinister. Clara clutched her chest, gasping for breath. "I don't feel right, something's wrong." Suddenly, Clara's eyes rolled back, and she collapsed to the floor, convulsing violently. The others rushed to her side, but there was little they could do. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, as if the tape had unleashed something evil into their world. In the chaos, Pedro's flashlight fell to the ground, casting long, eerie shadows on the walls. One of the shadows detached itself and began to move independently, creeping closer to the group. Sarah screamed as the shadow reached out, its cold, inky tendrils wrapping around her ankle. She tried to pull away, but the grip was too strong. The shadow seemed to be pulling her into the darkness, a sinister grin forming on its indistinct face. Desperation gave her strength, and she managed to break free, scrambling back towards the others. "We need to destroy the tape," she cried out. "It's the only way." João grabbed the tape from the VCR, but as he did, the shadowy figure lunged at him, knocking him to the ground. The tape flew from his hands, landing near the fireplace. Sarah, seeing her chance, grabbed a log from the hearth and swung it at the shadow, which dissolved into a cloud of black smoke. Pedro quickly tossed the tape into the fire, and they watched as it melted and burned, the flames consuming the malevolent presence that had tormented them. As the tape was destroyed, the whispers faded, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. The power flickered back on, and the doors and windows unlocked themselves. Clara slowly regained consciousness, groggy but alive. The group sat in stunned silence, the reality of what they had just experienced sinking in. They had faced a darkness beyond their comprehension and survived, but the scars of that night would remain with them forever. In the days that followed, they vowed never to speak of the incident again, each of them haunted by the memory of that cursed tape. Vila Nova returned to its quiet, uneventful existence, but the old movie rental shop remained a place of fear and mystery, its doors forever closed. Yet, somewhere in the depths of that abandoned shop, another tape lay hidden, waiting for the next curious soul to unleash its dark secrets. And the whispers in the shadows would never truly be silenced. Years later, the story of the haunted tape became a local legend, a cautionary tale whispered among the townspeople. New residents would sometimes hear strange noises coming from the old shop, and some claimed to see shadowy figures moving inside. One evening, a new group of teenagers, driven by curiosity and a thirst for adventure, decided to explore the abandoned shop. Among them was a boy named Miguel, who stumbled upon a dusty, forgotten section labeled, Melhores Filmes de Terror de Suspense. As he reached for a tape with a plain black cover, a chill ran down his spine. He held it up to the light, reading the single word scrawled in red ink, Impulso. The cycle was about to begin again.